Hello everyone, Curious Corduroy here, and the long-anticipated Resident Evil showcase for January just took place, and oh boy, did they show a lot of Leon stuff. Leon is going to be action man. He's going to be flipping and dipping around the field, schmooving all over the place. He's got some Euro steps and perfect dodges. It's insane. So we're going to be taking a look at that in today's video and breaking down all of the cool stuff with Leon, but also Grace. Alright, so initially I was going to do this video as just a straightforward recap with just my voice and some of the video footage, but this showcase ended up being a lot shorter than I anticipated. It's like almost 13 minutes long, and I thought maybe it'd be 15, maybe 20, and a lot of the story stuff that they cover in this showcase we've covered here on the channel already, which just primarily leaves gameplay stuff. And to do the gameplay stuff justice, in my opinion, we gotta do it visually like this. So sorry to those who were expecting just a straightforward recap. I was not expecting it to be so short, but going over a lot of the cool melee stuff with Leon is going to be really sick. So Leon is back. Okay, so this is kind of funny. We open up with Nakanishi here, who just straight up says, yeah, I never said Leon wasn't going to be in the game. He's not wrong. But what's interesting here is that what they said is initially this was supposed to be a horror game starring Leon, but because he's so seasoned, he didn't think fans would want to see a timid Leon, which makes sense. He's the action hero, he's a veteran, nothing scares this guy, which is how Grace gets involved. They created the Grace character specifically for these Resident Evil 2-like horror sections, which is really cool. And to go back and forth between those two gameplay styles in one unified story, I think is going to be a lot of fun. But seeing the evolution of Leon's combat in particular, they just straight up say it's an evolution of the RE4 combat system, which I love. And we see a ton of executions here for Leon. Look at this guy moving. He is so smooth with it. Like, let's just go back very quickly. Okay, so we got your standard roundhouse flip kick here. I don't even know what you would call that. Typical Leon. But then, context, he kicks the guy in the stomach, and then he shoots the knee, and then he kicks this guy's head into a shelf and squishes it with his boot. So again, that's very RE4, the context-sensitive attacks. If you shoot an enemy in the head, the melee attack that you get is going to be different compared to if you shot them in the kneecap or if you approach them from behind. Super sick. Here we see Grace just stealthily sneaking along, which again, I really enjoy this type of gameplay, and to go from action Leon to Grace is super cool. Here, we have Leon's hatchet. He sneaks up and stealth kills that guy, just removing his head, and then pulls out the shotgun. This is sick. Leon just straight up grabs this zombie, brings her in close, and blows her head off. That was bananas. Insane. Oh, I don't think she was wearing underwear. We don't have to focus on that. And again, when it comes to the story stuff, this is one unified story, even though you will be playing as Grace and Leon. And what's super cool is, obviously the game doesn't start off in Raccoon City, it starts off in a different city, but something pulls Leon and Grace to Raccoon City where you drive there. Leon is post RE6 Leon. He's still a DSO agent, still very seasoned, but it's nice to know where in the timeline this is all going to fall. And Leon's going to be going through it in this game, my dude. Now, here's what's really, really cool. They've talked about the dynamic enemies, changing up the behaviors, and now we know what it's going to be. These zombies that are infected with Elpis virus still retain some of their human characteristics, old habits, speech patterns, movements, which is why they can talk now. That last zombie literally just said, next, as he's butchering something. This woman's crashing out in the bathroom. This lady, who knows what her deal is, maybe she was a patient, but that's really cool. So it makes me wonder, like, what kind of zombies will we run into? Will there be zombies that used to be soldiers, zombies that were police officers, zombies that maybe were bouncers at a club, or nurses? And how does that in turn change their gameplay style and how you approach them? That is really, really sick. And speaking of Elpis, what's super interesting is that Victor Gideon, who is the main antagonist that we've seen so far in these trailers, wants Grace. He needs Grace for something related to Elpis. And seeing how advanced this Elpis virus actually is, it kind of makes me wonder, is Grace's blood the key to making Elpis the perfect weapon? we know that Grace's mom, Alyssa, took the daylight vaccine, and maybe those antibodies are still within her system. And maybe those antibodies are the key to weaponizing Elpis to ensure that the person with Elpis still retains all of their humanity, but now, potentially, is immortal or very strong. So that could be what's going on with Grace, and maybe he's tried to clone her before and it's failed. So that could also be one of the monsters that we see roaming around that hospital setting, that clinic. Maybe it was a messed up mutated clone of Grace that Victor just discarded because he felt she wasn't using, or he couldn't use her blood. She wasn't worth it anymore. So that's pretty interesting. Here, oh my gosh, this is like the moment that stuck out with me the most in this gameplay demo for Leon. He's got a hatchet, which is really cool. It's a tomahawk hatchet. We can still parry chainsaws. Chainsaw parrying, still a thing. That's really nice. But here we go. L, B, and X to sharpen. We've got some Monster Hunter leaking into our Resident Evil. I think Lies of P also had it, but this is an upgrade for the weapon durability system. So instead of just finding the new melee weapon and repairing it, you now have a sharpening stone that you can go in and repair that tomahawk axe. Super cool. And it looks like after that parry with the chainsaw, the durability of the tomahawk completely went down. A drastic go down. And it looks like he still has the tomahawk. So that's Leon's main melee weapon. So I don't think it can be destroyed, but when it's low like that, I don't think you can use it. So you have to sharpen it to use it again. So I don't know if there will be like weapon breaking at all in this game, maybe for other weapons, but not the tomahawk axe. So that's pretty cool. And now it's good as new. Here, right here. Oh my gosh, the Holy Grail. I have to move my speaker forward because I'm yanking on my cord here. Leon just straight up pulls a D-Wade Euro step. That's the only way I can describe it. So he's aiming at the zombie. The zombie's about to swing his chainsaw, and look what Leon does. He just straight up like outmaneuvers NFL Blitz style this zombie. He just like, whoop, let me slide behind you and just shoot you from behind. That is super cool. That's gotta be like not a perfect parry, but like a perfect dodge scenario that we got going on here. I'm just gonna slow this down because it's so beautiful. So 25 to life. So we sharpen the tomahawk axe. So I'm wondering if we'll have to find sharpening stones then too. So shoot once, shoot twice in the wiener. Switches to the Requiem revolver, and then whoop. Yeah, so it looks like maybe when you hit that perfect dodge, you disarm the enemy too. That is so cool, man. Makes me wonder if you can do that with all enemies. Now, following that perfect dodge, if you kill an enemy that has a melee weapon, you can pick it up, hence the chainsaw. So kind of makes me wonder what other melee weapons are going to pop up in this game that Leon can then pick up and use afterwards. Sorry, zombie. And then here we go. Kicks her against the wall. Environmental executions. Here again, the hatchet just comes on out. Leon is swarmed right here, so you're going to have a lot of enemies coming at you. Close quarters combat. And then he smushes the dude's face into the wall. Brutal. And then we get to Grace, which is much slower, much more refined. You can't always fight. You gotta run. You gotta hide. I like that juxtaposition between those two gameplay styles. I want to be action man, but I also want to be in a situation where I gotta be a little bit more strategic in how I move about the environment. Now what's cool is that revolver that Leon had, it's called the Requiem revolver. Obviously he gives that to Grace. And this is essentially going to act as a get out of jail free card for Grace. She's got a freaking magnum on her. So if you're in a tight spot, you pull that puppy out, boom, take out the enemy that's in front of you, and you've got some breathing room. Super nice. So she's not completely helpless. She just took out 2 zombies with the one Requiem revolver. Crafting. This is super cool. So we've been crafting in past Resident Evil games, but now they've upgraded it to the point where you can use the infected blood to help craft your items. This might be a Grace only thing. They don't show Leon doing it, but I'm assuming this is Grace. So She picks up the blood. We see the inventory, regular handgun. She's got the Requiem here, ammunition. This looks like the injector tool that she used to siphon the blood. This is probably like materials or something, and then an herb. All right, here. So, handgun ammo, hemolytic injector, which is the injector tool. And then we got the herbs, a makeshift knifed. She's got a knife. Okay, so those bags are scrap metal. And here we can see what we're making. So she uses the injector tool to combine scrap with blood to create a hemolytic injector, which is a special drug that destroys infected blood cells, prevents corpses from mutating, and can be used to stealthily take out enemies. Which this is essentially a one-hit permadeath kill on an enemy for Grace. So she gets another get-out-of-jail-free card. Injects the enemy, and it just goes poof. Explodes like a demon being hit from Lucifer on the show Supernatural. Just explodes into a red mist. Boom. And I do love Grace's delivery here on her voice line.
That's too effective.
She's timid, but also kind of nerdy there in that moment because she's like, oh, I created something, but oh, it's a little too effective. Here again, first person, third person. Leon and Grace can both do first and third, but what's cool is that you can assign those perspectives individually. So if you want Grace to be first person and Leon to be third, right here, you can set it for each individual character, which is really nice. Interestingly enough, they say that if you're on standard classic mode, Grace will have to use ink ribbons to save, but they don't say anything about Leon. So I'm wondering if Leon can just use typewriters at his own disposal to save without an ink ribbon. They don't really say anything about that. So one of the big things they're doing with this game in terms of collaborations is with Porsche. Leon will have a Porsche. We don't know if we're going to be able to drive this thing. Every time we see it, it's in-game. This is all in-game footage. So it'd be kind of interesting if maybe they had some wide linear type areas, maybe some semi-open world stuff where you could drive around in Leon's Porsche. We do know again that the story doesn't start off in Raccoon City, but something pulls Leon specifically to Raccoon City, driving that Porsche. I joked in a previous video that maybe you go back to the Porsche, pop the trunk, and you upgrade Leon's weapons since there won't be a merge in this game. But that's kind of interesting. You know, will there be any like open world-esque sections of this game? Now, when it comes to Elpis, we know that Leon is most definitely infected. They haven't told us anything else. They say that Elpis, Leon, and Grace's mother's death are all connected in some way. So maybe Leon's got some info on why she died, why maybe Victor Gideon was going after her. But they say you got to play the game to figure out more, which, you know, in true Capcom fashion, we got to keep things a little sneaky. But I'm very intrigued. I'm very, very curious about what exactly is going on with Leon, with Elpis, Grace potentially, you know, her blood being the key to making Elpis the perfect weaponized virus that allows the host to retain their sense of self, their brain, their humanity, but now they're immortal. That's super cool, man. So you might be wondering, all of this looks super sick. When can I play the demo? I can't wait for the demo. Every Resident Evil game in the past 5+ years has had a demo. Where's the demo? Well, interestingly enough, the producers said in an interview a few months ago, I forget what the publication was, you'll have to forgive me, but they just straight up said there will not be a demo for this game. And the reasoning that they gave was that they wanted to focus on making the game the best it could possibly be. So they didn't want to pull any of their people away to create a special demo specifically to put out for players to try, the public. They just want to make sure the game is good. So that's understandable. But stick with me here. If we go a little conspiracy theory mode, this is my own personal thinking here. We know we're playing as Grace and we know we're playing as Leon. And the way that they've talked about it in these trailers and in these interviews is that it feels like a complementary experience. You go from Grace to Leon, back to Grace. It's an experience. So maybe they didn't want to put out a Grace-only demo without the Leon portion to complement it. That's my own headcanon there, my own thought process on maybe why there is no demo. Because they want you to be able to experience what it's like to be Grace, but then also Leon directly after that. So, I don't know. That's just my own thought, but unfortunately, there will not be a demo for this game according to the developers, and there's been nothing in this showcase that hints that a demo is coming, unfortunately. But this is super cool. Look at this big butcher guy. Man, imagine trying to fight that guy as Leon. Knife in the eye, that's great. I'm excited, man. Oh, just like a home run swing with that axe. Oh, this is so violent. So this right here could potentially be that monster that was chasing us earlier in the Grace section, but she's now mutated to something even bigger, which makes me wonder, you know, again, a lot of us thought it could have been Lisa Trevor, but the dev said it wasn't Lisa Trevor. I've seen some people say maybe it's Grace's mother, Alyssa, but I think maybe the idea of Gideon having these clones that were failed clones and he just disregards them, tosses them aside, and then they mutate into that also makes a lot of sense. So either way, I am super duper excited for this game. Grace and Leon's gameplay both look so much fun. I'm intrigued by the story and just seeing an evolution of the RE2 style gameplay for Grace and the RE4 style gameplay for Leon. Oh man, it's just like they're making all the right moves for me. But yeah, that was the showcase. Incredibly short. Again, I initially was going to make just a recap video with my voice and the footage, but it was so short and so much of it requires like me talking while the stuff is on screen at the same time that I ended up doing this style of video, which I know doesn't perform as well on YouTube, unfortunately. But if you made it this far into the video, I would really appreciate if you could click the like button, subscribe. If you're hyped for the game and want to hype up my video, you can do that as well. But I am curious, Corduroy. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think so far from the RE Requiem showcase? How excited are you to play as Leon? What kind of thoughts do you have about the story? Do you think maybe Grace's blood is the key to creating the perfect version of Elpis? I will see you guys in the next video. Please remember to always be excellent to one another. This looks so cool. Kick her in the face. Hiya! Cool.